Okay, so today's lesson we're going to look at angle of elevation and angle of depression. Angle of elevation is you're looking up at the object, and angle of depression means you're looking down at the object. So when we want to classify each angle as an angle of elevation or angle of depression, let's look at angle 1. And you really want to base it on that dotted horizontal line. So on that dotted horizontal line, is angle 1 looking up or looking down? And to me, it's going up because I'm from the boat looking up at the person. So this would be angle of elevation. If I look at number 2, let me find my dotted horizontal line. So that gives me a point of reference. So now if I look at angle 2, I'm looking down at the boat. So I'm looking at it from the perspective of my person here, and he's looking down at the boat. So that would be an angle of depression. And I'll let you complete 3 and 4. The next problem I'm going to move on to is number 7 with measurement. So how do we apply this angle of elevation or angle of depression? Number 7 says when the angle of elevation, so it does tell me that we're looking up to the sun, is 37 degrees. A flagpole casts a shadow that is 24.2 feet long. What is the height of the flagpole to the nearest foot? Okay, so here's the flagpole, and that's the side that I want to find. 37 is my angle of elevation. So the bottom part of my triangle acts as my dotted horizontal line, and then I'm looking up at the top of the flagpole. We're going to set this up as a trig ratio. So 37 is my angle. That makes x my opposite side, and that makes 24.2 my adjacent side. So you do want to go ahead and label those sides. And if I'm looking at SOHCAHTOA, which we learned in a previous lesson with the trig functions, I want to see which one uses opposite and adjacent. So opposite and adjacent looks like it's going to be my tangent function because it uses opposite and adjacent, and that's what I'm going to set up. So I'm going to have the tangent of 37 degrees equals the opposite side, which is x, over 24.2, which is the adjacent side. I can put this over 1 to complete my proportion, and then I'm going to cross multiply, and I get 24.2 times the tangent of 37 degrees equals x. And if I take my calculator, I want to make sure that my calculator is in degree mode and this one is not. So I want to go down to radian, arrow over to degree, and make sure that degree is selected. You might want to do this before you begin any trig problem. And now I'm just going to type it in, 24.2 times the tangent of 37 degrees. And it says round to the nearest foot. So I get 18.2 in my calculator, and that would round to 18 feet for the flagpole. And there's my answer, 18 feet. Okay, our next problem, number 9, aviation. The pilot of a traffic helicopter sights an accident at an angle of depression of 18 degrees. The helicopter's altitude is 1,560 feet. What is the horizontal distance from the helicopter to the accident? Round to the nearest foot. Okay, we don't have a picture here like we did in number 7, so we want to draw one. So I'm going to draw a little helicopter. Don't make fun of my helicopter. And it said angle of depression. So here is my dotted line, and the helicopter is looking down on the accident at 18 degrees. And here's my little truck. And it wanted to know the horizontal distance. So it wants to know how far it is from the horizontal distance. And it told me that the helicopter was 1,560 feet above the accident. My angle of depression is looking down, and remember my little horizontal line would be parallel to the horizontal distance at the bottom, and that makes it alternate interior angles. So that means this 18-degree angle measure would be congruent to this angle measure, and I can transfer that over because of their alternate interior angles. Okay. Now I have my angle measure. My 1,560, that is my opposite side, and that makes that horizontal distance my adjacent side. Okay, so if I look at SOHCAHTOA, I want to know what trig function I'm going to use to find the horizontal distance, and it uses opposite and adjacent. Well, opposite and adjacent is the tangent function. So I'm going to have the tangent of 18 degrees equals 1,560 over x. I can put that over 1 and cross multiply. So I get the, actually, if you'll remember, since x is in the bottom, if you'll remember, these two switch places. These two switch places, so I don't have to do all that work. So in this case, now x equals 1,560 divided by the tangent of 18 degrees. So I'm going to take my calculator, 1,560 divided by the tangent of 18 degrees, and it gives me 4,000. Let me find where I can write x. 4,801. It says to the nearest foot, so that's going to be 4,801. So that's how far the helicopter is away from the accident scene. Almost a mile. Okay, the last problem I want to go over is our geology problem. To measure the height of a rock formation, a surveyor places her transit 100 meters from its base and focuses the transit on the top of the formation. The angle of elevation is 67 degrees. The transit is 1.5 meters above the ground. What is the height of the rock formation round to the nearest meter? Okay, so first I want to draw a picture. So here's my rock formation, and I want to find out how tall my rock formation is. The person is standing 100 meters from the rock formation, and we have a transit. So a transit is a machine that measures the angle, and the angle of elevation is 67 degrees. So the transit is set at 67 degrees looking up at the rock formation, and the transit is 1.5 meters. Okay, so I need to find the opposite side, because here's my angle, and directly across from it, that's the opposite side. However, the opposite side for the 67 degree only counts from here to here. Okay, my adjacent side is still 100 meters. So when I'm determining my trig function, I'm going to use SOHCAHTOA. I have the opposite side and the adjacent side. So again, that's going to be our tangent function. And I'm going to set it up. Tangent 67 degrees equals the opposite side, and I'm going to use O because it's not x, over 100. Okay, I'm going to set up my proportion by putting tangent over 1, then I can cross multiply. So I get 100 tangent of 67 equals the opposite side, and I'm going to use my calculator. 100 tangent of 67. That gives me 235.6 feet, and that's the opposite side. Now I need to account for the transit, because the transit is part of the height of the rock formation too. So I need to add that extra 1.5 in, and that'll get me x. So I'm going to have the 235.6, add in the other 1.5, and I messed up somewhere. 235.6 plus 1.5, and that gives me 237.1 meters. And it says go to the nearest meter, so I'm going to take off that 0.1, so it's going to be 237 meters. So make sure that you account for the additional height of the person or the transit.